Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, sometimes it's just about more than trying to get ourselves out of a tight spot. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide ranging variety of industry professionals and pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm assuming you do, you're listening to the podcast right now, you can subscribe to the podcast. You can find us over at Amazon, Spotify, Apple, Google, basically wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also find every single one of our episodes archived over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe over there as well, that would be fantastic. Plus, you can find us on the social media, as I'm told the kids call it. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at either In the Seats or at It's Podcast One for all sorts of updates. And plus, we're also on TikTok just for the hell of it, at In the Seats for a little bit of fun too. But finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image in general, because that's kind of what we love to talk about, and we love it when you come and read about it. So please stop on by on this episode. We're talking, we got a good one. We're looking into a new film called Meander, or Meander, as it were. A French sort of science fiction horror film, which is hitting video on demand platforms tomorrow. And we had the distinct pleasure of sitting down with director Mathieu Turi, because this is a story about a woman who finds herself locked in a series of strange tunnels and is navigating through deadly traps, but there's more going on. It's very much a sort of metaphorical and sort of psychological journey, as opposed to just sort of random torture porn that she's trying to sort of avoid and like not die kind of thing. There is greater meaning to sort of the mission through this maze for this character. And we talked with Matthew about the film and just sort of the development therein, and so very much more. And it was a fun talk, which I hope you enjoy, because I know that I did. I really appreciate you doing this today. Thank you so much for the time, and congratulations on the film. I really got a kick out of it. Can you walk me through sort of the idea for the story?
Oh yeah, sure. So basically, it begins when I wanted, to do a sci-fi high concept movie, but I was like, in that kind of movie, it's always about someone trapped in a tiny space and who can't move. And I wanted to do the opposite. So still claustrophobic, but someone who has to move, because if she doesn't move, she dies. So I wanted to find that concept. And I remember the scene in Aliens by James Cameron, when you have Bishop who has to crawl in a strange tube like this to go to activate the antenna. And
Right.
I remember when I was a teenager, I was just mesmerized by the fact that I was terrified and nothing happened, So in that scene, and I guess that's where the main inspiration comes. And I tried to do it as a feature film.
No, I love that. And I mean, I definitely love sort of, and I mean, this seems just silly from a practical standpoint, but I can imagine that from just a practical standpoint, being able to shoot something in a confined space definitely makes your life probably a little easier. Or does it add sort of challenges in the whole process?
Yeah, but it was easy on paper, but in real life, it was kind of more complicated, because I didn't just want to have one shot from behind and one shot from the face, and then say, oh, in editing, let's put some pace in it. I really wanted to have some complicated shots. So at the moment, when you have such a tiny space, everything became complicated, because you have to find ideas to put the camera on one side or to move inside, and just not to be stuck in your directing. And so that was not so easy.
How do you sort of design shots for a movie like this? Like you say, you wanted to have stuff that
that felt complicated. I got to imagine, especially in pre-production, you're doing a lot of work sort of very meticulously designing each shot, especially if you want to try to do stuff that's maybe a little more complex than, like you say, one from the front, one from the back.
So for my movies, I always draw every shot, but I draw like a kid. So it's not storyboards. It's just tiny drawings, very very bad. But to express myself and to say to draw, okay, this is what I need, what I want to do. So let's find a solution. And then on that particular movie, we were like trying to use different camera system that we had to create. We used, a camera called the Sony Venice with a system called the Rialto system. It has been invented for Top Gun 2 to shoot in the cockpit. So the camera is basically like a classical movie camera, but you can split it in two. And the big parts stay outside. There is a wire in between, but you can shoot all your movie with just one part of the camera. So it's a little smaller. And basically, they wanted to shoot in the cockpit, so the camera couldn't fit in it. And we use that for Meander, and we put that in some crazy rigs we invented with some wheels and with some mechanics. And that we could have some shots like you have in the movie when she runs to the camera, and then we just move with her with very fast movement. That was just for that shot, Especially sometimes we even design and construct one part of the tube just for one shot. It happens 2 or 3 times during the movie. So it was, you can't say, okay, let's build a set and let's see after that how we're going to shoot it. Usually you don't like this, but in that kind of set when it's very tiny, you have to say, okay, let's construct the tube, but what the shot do you want? I want that shot. Okay, so let's see that panel has to come and to be movable, and then we have to put it back during the shot. And it was like this for all the shot of the movie. So, but it was very interesting and crazy at the same time.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the title, because it feels like, our main character, Lisa, the one thing that she can't do is meander in this entire film. She has to constantly be moving.
Yeah. Actually, the title in French is Meander.
Wow.
So it's not exactly the same meaning. It's kind of close, but it's more it's the same idea, but in a bad way, And when we talked about the English title, we were about, okay, if we do it literally, it's meander, but it's not exactly the same meaning. And when we talked about it, I love the fact that, like you said, she can do that, but she does it in her life at the beginning. She's like not knowing where to go and doesn't take decisions, and she's just not really taking everything in charge. So we were like, I didn't want to call it the tube or tube, because it's already very close to cube. So, and anyway, we chose to stay with Meander and just to have a double meaning with that. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about finding Gaia for our lead, because, I mean, obviously, in a movie like this, if you have to find the right actor to really sort of buy into the material, and I love her performance here because it really sort of progresses throughout the entire film.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy story because she came very late in the process, because actually we had to change our casting at the last minute, maybe 10 days before the shoot. So we were like saying, okay, let's recast the movie and we will postpone the shoot. But let's first find someone, and Gaia was on my list, and I really wanted to work with her. So we talked about it. She was very, very motivated by the movie. We talked about the costume and everything, because she wanted to know how I wanted to picture her character, because it could be easily a movie where you just want to see a woman crawl in the tube and just enjoy it. And that was not my purpose, because I really wanted the audience to be with her and wanted to go through the journey with her and not just enjoy the fact that she suffers. And she was very happy about that, because she wanted to do the exact same thing when she read the script. And we said, okay, let's that's crazy, because we have to postpone. And she said, you know what, if you can and if you want, I can shoot in 10 days, because I could use that. She's mainly known for Vikings, and she says, I'm already a warrior, so maybe if I can really prepared in the tube, it's going to be again a tough girl and kind of ready to go through it, and maybe I can use that non-preparation to use for my character, and I will discover the tube and the sets, and it's going to be visceral and maybe organic, and I want to try it if you are okay with that, and if we shoot in chronological order, that was already in place. So we say, okay, let's go, let's do it in 10 days. It's crazy, but let's do it, and it works.
Well, I mean, that's fantastic. And I mean, it really comes through in her performance. And I mean, I think that leads into my next question, because I'm always fascinated just about how visually, as a storyteller, how sort of creatively challenging it can be to sort of build tension, especially in such a confined space. And I'm kind of curious, how was that for you as sort of a creative challenge? Because I can imagine that, like, especially during a 10-day shoot, which is very condensed, you may have to sort of improvise or do something on the fly if something's not necessarily working exactly the way you hoped it would.
Yeah, it's exactly that, because as I was saying, we were supposed to postpone, so everybody stopped. The
Yeah.
set were not completed when we say, okay, we're gonna postpone, so take it slow, guys. And then we were like, okay, change of plan. We shoot in 10 days. So even for some traps, I discovered them during the shoot. So just 2 days before, the production designer was like, okay, this is for the blades. What do you think? And it was like, okay, this is good, but this is not exactly what I wanted. Let's maybe do this that way. Oh, it's not possible. We don't have the time to do it. Okay, so let's basically it's like every movies, but when it's also artistic, and it's just not about how to do the shot. It's also how I want to the traps to look, everything, something you do in preparation. You have time, it's kind of quiet, and you can talk to, and you can change decision. And it was kind of, I guess it's in the end, it's not a bad thing, because you're like, you have the energy and you have everything in that kind of movies when it's very tense and everything. You just got put your stress and your excitement in it, and you can see that on screen. So yeah, it was kind of I was in the tube too, in a way.
Now, I mean, this is a silly question, but it's something I always like to ask. Like, can you think back to maybe your younger days, and like, was there a movie or sort of a piece of work, a moment in your life that, was the pivot point for you that made you want to be a storyteller, a filmmaker?
Actually, there is two moments. One, I was so young because I was 6, and I saw, this is actually the first movie I've ever seen, and it was The Thing.
Oh, fantastic.
So at 6, it's crazy. I was behind the couch, and I was like, I clearly remember the dog scene. Um,
Mhm.
and it was like a nightmare, but for real. I was kid and I didn't understand what I saw, but I clearly remember that. And just after that, I know that I've seen just after maybe 2 or 3 years after, so I was too young, but I saw Predator, I saw Terminator, I saw RoboCop, Alien, and it was far too young, and it was forbidden. But one of my uncle had a huge collection of VHS, and I just see, and it was recorded, so we don't even have the jacket. So I was the poster on it. So I was just looking to the title, and everything was or at the end, Predator, Terminator. It was so exciting, and so the first one, yeah, would be The Thing, because I was so young, and I think it did something on me. But the real one was not a sci-fi or horror movie. It was a Braveheart, um, for a clear reason, because I was looking that when I was a teenager, because it was on TV, and just after the movie, they put the making of the movie, and that documentary is just crazy, because you can see Mel Gibson working with the editor, and then you go back to 1 year before to on set, and I was like, okay, this is what a director does, and it's not like your the cliche you have in mind when you're a kid about someone sit on a chair with his name on it, and
For sure. Yeah,
and
yeah.
with this yeah, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So,
Now, I mean, I think what I really love about Meander is just the arc that we go on, because it's not, at first glance, people could think this is more like trying to be, borderline torture porn, or very much trying to lean more into the horror. But this is really a very sort of existential journey for the character as she's navigating her way through this. And I mean, I'm kind of curious, at the end of the day, what's your ultimate hope for the film that people pull away from something like Meander?
You touched exactly the right point, because it's exactly about that, and for many reasons. But the first one is because I wrote Meander just after I failed to do my first feature film, which I finally did, but it was years ago, and I tried again and again to do it, in the system in France with maybe more money, and it failed again and again. And after 3 years of working on that first movie with other producers, I was like, let's write something and put all my finger in it. So at the beginning, I just had that idea, and oh yeah, it's gonna be a torture porn movie about just violence, and then more and more, I was like, that's not my point of view on life, because my point of view that when you fail, and when you fall, you have to get up and try again and try again and try again.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
this is basically life. So I was like, okay, this is interesting, because it came from a negative feeling, but it became something positive, and I wrote about it like this with that in mind. And in the end, I just kept that idea during all these years, and time has passed, and I made my first feature film, and then the second one was I had a lot of projects, but the one that did pass through the life of making movies became Meander, and I was very happy about it, because this is something I still think today, that the more important, and especially in that kind of business, it's about when someone say no, you just have to say, I don't take no for an answer. I will try again and again and again. I love what David Fincher said. He said that if he had to be a teacher at a movie school, he would have begin with, please, you in the audience, get up and take me your ideas, and he will listen for the first sentence and then say, shut up and just sit down. Your idea is shit. And he would have said, if you sit down when I say that, if you do that, you're not ready to do that business, because everybody's going to be saying shut up and sit down, and you have to stay on your feet. So I love that.
Well, you know what, man? Keep doing the good work, and because I mean, I love the film, and I mean, it's stylish, it's scary, but it's aspirational as well at the same time, which I really got a big kick out of. And just again, congratulations on the good work, congratulations on the film, and thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Oh, thank you so much.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.